Germany is going through a profound crisis that is shaking not only its economy, but also its social and political structures. Since November 2024, this crisis has had significant repercussions, not only in Germany, but also in France, raising crucial questions about the future of the European Union. The two countries, essential pillars of the EU, now find themselves in a situation where their political fragility could bring down the rest of the European bloc. What we are witnessing today is much more than simple internal instability. It is a redefinition of political relations in Europe and beyond. February 14, 2025, a pivotal speech in Munich. During a conference in Munich, U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance delivered a speech that shook the foundations of Europe. He sharply criticized the management of European governments and their tendency to overshadow the voices of their citizens. For him, democracy does not lie in institutions, but in the voice of the people. This was not just a criticism, it was a call for a paradigm shift. Vance also condemned the regression of freedom of speech in Europe, citing blatant examples in the UK, Sweden, Romania, and of course, Germany. By questioning democratic policies in Europe, this speech seems to signal a new American vision, a more autonomous Europe, less dependent on institutions. This stance could well transform transatlantic relations and redirect the balance of power in Europe. The elections in Germany, a crucial political turning point. On February 23, 2025, Germany will head to the polls for early legislative elections. These elections could mark a decisive turning point for the country's political stability and, consequently, the future of the EU. Germany is a key player in European politics, and its upcoming political direction will have immediate consequences for the entire continent. The current situation in Germany is complex. Deep internal fractures, a government in crisis, but also strategic opportunities for the United States, which seeks to strengthen its influence in Europe. It is clear that the political configuration in Germany after these elections could determine the geopolitical orientation of Europe in the years to come. The United States and Germany, a shifting strategic partnership. Germany has always been a central pillar in American strategy, whether during the Cold War or after reunification in 1990. The intervention of the United States under George H.W. Bush during German reunification attests to this. However, the American attitude toward Germany has evolved over the decades. While the U.S. has historically supported Germany as an economic and military bastion in Europe, the current era is marked by a shift in perspective, particularly under Donald Trump's presidency. Trump has consistently pressured European allies to increase their military spending. He criticized Germany for its dependence on the U.S. and its energy relations with Russia. But what is more striking is the evolution of American priorities, which now seem to favor a more autonomous Europe, while reducing their military presence in Europe to focus on the Asia-Pacific region. In this sense, Germany plays an increasingly decisive role, not only in European defense, but also in shaping the geopolitical landscape of the coming years. Europe and France's strategic ambiguity. France's position, while also a major actor within the EU, remains ambiguous on several geopolitical issues. France has always played a particular role, partly due to its overseas interests and independent foreign policy. Emmanuel Macron, for example, has attempted to redefine European priorities by strengthening the EU while advocating for greater strategic autonomy, particularly in defense matters. However, this approach faces resistance, particularly from Central and Eastern European countries, who see France as more focused on global issues than on immediate European security concerns, particularly regarding Russia. Furthermore, France favors a more autonomous defense posture, with a strong emphasis on its nuclear capabilities and power projection beyond the EU's borders. In contrast, Germany, although having a different approach, has strengthened its military budget and investments in modernizing its armed forces. Germany's role in redefining Europe. Germany is at a strategic crossroads. As the EU struggles with its own internal crises, Germany finds itself in a privileged position to influence future decisions. However, with the rise of new political players like the AfD Alternative for Germany, Germany could be heading toward a new political configuration, a change that could pave the way for a revision of its traditional relationship with the United States and NATO. The rise of the CDU-CSU, Christian Democratic Union, and the AfD could mark a major turning point. If these parties succeed in taking control, they could challenge the old paradigms of European politics and redefine the transatlantic alliance. This shift could also affect Germany's relations with its European neighbors, while signaling a realignment of geopolitical priorities. The United States and their strategic interests in Germany. The United States has a vested interest in seeing a strong Germany, but not just economically. The U.S. seeks to reduce its dependence on European allies while pushing Germany to invest more in its defense. In 2022, Germany already increased its purchases of American arms, and this figure continues to rise. At the same time, the United States is encouraging Germany to diversify its energy sources. U.S. liquefied natural gas, LNG, for example, has become central to Germany's energy imports. This growing dependence on the U.S. could mark a new phase in transatlantic relations, where Germany, although economically strong, will need to shift toward a more autonomous defense while maintaining close ties with the United States. Conclusion: what are the consequences for Europe? The German elections of 2025, combined with internal tensions in Germany and U.S. pressure, could well redefine Europe's future. Germany, as a central nation, will need to navigate between American pressure for more autonomous defense and the need to maintain strong relations within the EU. The coming years will be crucial for Europe, and the direction Germany takes will have profound consequences on European security, economy, and politics. In the meantime, transatlantic relations remain under high tension, and the entire world is closely watching the outcome of the German elections.